Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You? I'm David Dimbleby. In the news this week, following their constructive talks on Brexit, Theresa May realises that Jeremy Corbyn is a safe pair of hands and accepts his offer of a lift home. Following a tense meeting of the 1922 committee, evidence emerges as to who ate Sir Graham Brady's donut. And in Syria, there's an undignified end for the last IS fighter as he tries to take cover from enemy gunfire. On Ian's team tonight is this year's Strictly winner and a journalist famous for making hard-hitting documentaries in strife-torn disaster zones. She's currently filming her next one in Westminster. Please welcome Stacey Dooley.
Thank you.
And with Paul Merton is a German comedian who we've got on early in this series, as we might have to pay a 10% tariff on him after April the 12th. Please welcome Henning Wehn.
Hey.
Now, this first round is normally a hard-fought contest between two opposing factions, but tonight we're going to reflect Theresa May's new spirit of national unity. We'd like both sides to work together on this one. So what is this all about?
There's a woman with a skin complaint that's become topical.
Oh, that's the former Prime Minister. Oh, and there's the current one. And democracy. Someone carrying a coffin.
He looks happy there.
He is.
Yeah.
He's just trying to attract the attention of the barman.
This is the increasingly acrimonious disagreement over Brexit as we get closer to the cliff edge, or as the New York Times put it, the United Kingdom has gone mad.
Brilliant.
Angela Merkel's Europe minister called it a Shakespearean shit show.
Who was it that said the UK are trying to kill themselves? They just can't work out how they want to die.
I think it's probably Theresa May.
How has Jeremy Corbyn
Is that it? How?
Yeah,
How's
good
Jeremy?
question. 75.
been trying to appear statesmanlike?
He's got new glasses.
No, let him answer. He hasn't
Yeah, he's got
answered
new
yet.
No, we can do what we like on this show,
Okay,
David.
all right, I'll give up. I thought I was meant to chair it. Right.
No, you, sir, in the middle. Shut up.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, I refer to the for want of a better word, the gentleman on the end there who said he's got new glasses. New statesman-like glasses.
They're very nice.
Are they?
Yeah, you can look through them and read stuff.
Oh, but only one lens seems to be working.
Yeah, I don't know. What does he reckon? Does he reckon he can become Prime Minister?
Yeah, absolutely. He's in meetings with Theresa May. I mean, it's pretty exciting. It's like work experience.
You don't get any closer to power than having a meeting with Theresa May, do you?
But the thing is, so we criticise them all a lot, but don't forget, they do put the hours in, don't they? The other day, there was Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn. They spoke apparently at 4 in the morning. Who is up at 4 in the morning? And even if you can't find sleep, you wouldn't dream of ringing someone else because you think, well, surely they'll be
That's the
asleep.
booty call. That's the booty call.
You think that's a booty call?
4 a.m. Yeah, that's what they're after.
I think you'll have to explain to David what a booty call is.
No, David knows, you know.
No, I don't know what a booty call is.
You know, your little black book.
What? Well, you give me one and then I'll know what to do.
I'm going to get him one.
So,
I think he's got the idea now.
So, Theresa May had a meaningful conversation with Jeremy Corbyn this week. How was that received?
Well, Jeremy was thrilled because they both want to leave and now they're going to try and work out how. And then her own party are absolutely furious because the Tories can't get this thing through, so she's gone across to Labour. And a lot of Tories are absolutely furious.
Hopping mad.
Hopping mad.
OK, what sort of words have the ERG been using?
This is Rees-Mogg's lot, so it's mostly Latin. No, they're ramping up the rhetoric. It's all about battles and fights and suicides and treaties in 1120. Rees-Mogg changed his mind anyway after months and years of saying I would never, ever, as a matter of principle, vote for this deal. I couldn't possibly betray the Northern Irish people. Oh, yeah, all right, I will. And he just walked through the lobby with Boris. Again, another person who, I don't know, you've noticed over the years, doesn't always stick to his previous lies.
Rees-Mogg was obviously very appalled by all this, but he does have his Facebook supporters group to boost his morale. Have you seen his Facebook?
No, well, it's actually been outlawed because it's based in Broadmoor.
Let's have a look at this illuminating forum. Just for interest's sake, are there any young folk on this site? Yes, I'm 55. What happened on Tuesday?
There are a number of very important votes.
There was a very tense 7-hour cabinet meeting.
There you go, 7 hours.
Yeah.
And then after that, they didn't just then clock off, went home, have a snooze or something. Then, on the blower, doing this, that, and the other, go into a House of Commons, some more chattering there. 11 o'clock, probably only had a pint or two all day. And also about that cabinet meeting, what they had, when they broke for lunch, and then they said they served wine. Who in their right mind, when they have got a whole day of work ahead of them, is on the wine at midday?
Alcoholics?
That is the conclusion you would have to come to, yeah.
What precautions did Theresa May have to take after the meeting?
Did she have to go through one of those trays of disinfectant?
Like in the fish factories.
I know she had to lock them away,
Yeah,
didn't
she had to lock them
so
in.
she could come out and give her statement first.
That's right. They're so leaky they weren't allowed out of the cabinet room until she'd made her speech to the cameras outside.
They've no idea what's going on.
No one has any idea what's going on.
And that makes it so exciting, because usually you feel like, oh, they know so much more than I do, and you feel like left behind. But no, we're all in level playing field. No one knows anything. I mean, a man who is tired of Brexit is tired of life.
If you really want to know what the members of the cabinet are thinking, you have to watch Newsnight.
Yes.
And listen to Nicholas Watt.
I said to one cabinet minister, why is the Prime Minister holding a vote when she's pretty sure that she's going to lose? And using very strong language, this cabinet minister said to me, fuck knows, I'm past caring, it's like the living dead in here.
What threatened to derail the indicative votes?
Oh, was this the naked protest? It was.
Go on.
I was going to ask you a question, but I keep forgetting that's a waste of time. It was the naked protest. A load of arses appeared in the Commons, and then so did some naked
Do you want to see them?
Yeah,
Yes,
go on then.
please.
All right, here they are. One,
Oh,
two,
they're not
three,
properly
four, five.
naked,
Yeah, what?
David. They got pants on.
Yeah, they got pants on, but, you know,
I wanted to see the old lot.
they've got...
Well, the honourable member and all.
What's been the real Brexit boost for the economy?
Stockpiling.
Oh, medication, wasn't it?
It's just everything.
Yeah.
The economic figures came out and people said, this is great. People are buying loads of stuff. Britain's booming. And then they realised we were just buying stuff to put in our cellars.
Complete panic.
He was panic buying.
Yeah.
Honestly, it will all come out in the wash. Everyone's worrying at the moment, but if you look back onto the history of Britain, say in 500 years' time, totally insignificant Brexit. Everyone just sit back, have a Horlicks, and just enjoy
Have you
it.
learnt all your English references from old Ealing comedies? On the blower, have a Horlicks. All right, governor.
The Brexit boost for the economy has been stockpiling. Channel 4 News had this report about how the panic was spreading.
But things like, I mean, all your tinned food and stuff, the supermarkets have said there's no need to stockpile it. The government has said there's no need to stockpile it.
They're probably right, but, you know, you could end up going to the shops and then not finding coconut milk.
What happened on Brexit Day itself?
There was a protest outside the Houses of Parliament because the inevitable hadn't inevitably happened.
Somebody said something that maybe they shouldn't have. Jon Snow.
Oh, yes, I've never
Oh,
seen so many
yeah.
white people, he said, on a march, wasn't there?
He got rather confused. I think he meant to say good night. But, I mean, he's quite old, John. I mean, not compared to everyone, but... It was Channel 4 and he was a bit shocked. He just said, I've never seen so many white people.
About that
What
Leave
side
Us
was
March.
he talking
Right,
about?
yes.
Apparently half the Channel 4 News audience was outraged by it.
Really?
Yeah, they had 7 complaints. The argument for a people's vote is said to be gaining ground. So, should we put it to the people again? Stacey, what do you think about a people's vote? When you won Strictly,
Yes.
the judges thought you were rubbish and put
They
you at the
did.
bottom, and then the public voted you top.
I was bottom of the board, thank God for the
Yeah.
people.
Thank God for
But,
the people. So, would you like to see a people's vote?
I mean, obviously, the outcome of Strictly is much more important than what we're discussing here.
Of course.
Do you know, I'm genuinely very torn. I think we lost, and I think it's a difficult pill to swallow, but I think it's a slippery slope when you say we need to go again because we didn't get the outcome we wanted, but then I understand that there's new information now. I've given up, to be quite honest, having an opinion.
OK, well, let's have another vote then.
Yeah, all right.
Did you see how Liz Truss dealt with the question on LBC?
No, but I can't wait.
What do you think of having another EU referendum?
A very, very, very bad idea.
But people can change their minds, can't they?
But they were told in the referendum in 2016 that their vote would be implemented, and the reality is the vote needs to be implemented.
But
You
what about
can't-
the
if you
people
don't
who've
like the
changed their
answer, you
minds
can't
between
just
then
ask
and
people.
now?
I don't think people have changed their minds. Everyone
You
I
have.
speak to... I have, that's true.
So, what are the latest developments in the Brexit
Good
debate?
question, David.
We don't know. It's all go. That's the trouble about recording one day in advance with Brexit.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we could be a democratic republic aligned to the Congo.
Well, things will certainly have changed by the time this show is broadcast. It's probably safe to say that people you didn't know existed will have resigned. It was George Eustace who quit as farming minister in February. So let's see a colleague in the Scottish Parliament's alarmingly frank assessment of him.
I personally have met with Andrea Ledison, and I've had 2 meetings with George Eustace in relation to the Confederation Suffrage.
We don't know when Theresa May is going to go, but there seem to be a number of leadership hats thrown into the ring. Who do you think is going to be the next leader of the Conservatives?
I think it's going to be Jeremy Corbyn.
If it's Jacob, I'm going to leave and come and live with you in Germany.
But I'm still here.
What are the rival camps calling Jeremy Hunt?
Sounds like...
I got it. Apparently Jeremy Hunt is called Theresa in trousers, or Tit for short. So this is Brexit, and at the time of broadcast, just 7 days from us leaving the EU. After Theresa May announced that she would be meeting with the Labour Party leaders, Ian Duncan Smith referred to Jeremy Corbyn as one of the most politically dangerous and incompetent politicians in Britain. We should take that seriously because the category is very strong this year. The unexpected meeting between the two party leaders started an atmosphere of suspicion and mistrust. Jeremy Corbyn was checking out the cupboards to make sure Chuka Umunna wasn't hidden there. Theresa May knew she was going to be in for a tough meeting with Jeremy Corbyn when he insisted that Britain be part of a customs union, adding, with Palestine. And at the end of the 7-hour cabinet meeting, Theresa May treated her ministers to a few bottles of Chilean red wine, and she really wanted to shove the corkscrew into Jacob's Creek. Before we move on, just want to remind you, you can tweet us with your views on Brexit on the usual number. And I'm going to take a question from the audience now. Can I have hands up? Yes, you, sir, in the middle there, in the blue.
Thank you. Given that no one has the faintest idea what's going on with Brexit, and we'd be talking about it for years and years anyway, does the panel agree it's now time to move on to round 2?
Do you think he's a plant?
Looks more like a vegetable from where I'm sitting.
Time for round 2. Fingers on buzzers, teams. As for the first time tonight, we go over to Peter Snow and the swingometer of news.
David, thank you. What I can definitely say is that it's turning into a very bad night for Ian. Even at this early stage, you can see this dramatic swing to this rather fascinating curio.
So, yeah, there's a new book come out which indicates that Donald Trump cheats at golf like he does at everything else. He's got caddies that he's specifically trained to sort of lie for him. He's got balls hidden all around. He once claimed to win a golf tournament while he was playing at another golf tournament 87 miles away. He has no shame gene, so it doesn't matter to him. He doesn't think, oh, you know, how pathetic that I should be cheating at golf. He thinks that as long as he's won, that's all that matters.
If that's his only flaw.
Do you know who the sports journalist was?
Yes, somebody Riley.
Rick Riley.
Rick Riley.
Do you know what the book was called?
Everything you need to know about Trump you can learn from how he plays golf, something like that.
Commander-in-Chief.
Commander-in-Chief, that's it, yes. How golf explains Trump,
That's
yes.
right. And do you know what Riley said about Trump in particular?
Well, he's notorious for lying about his scores and...
Cheats like a mafia accountant.
Yes. He does walk around like a mafia don, doesn't he? With the overcoat and stuff, you know.
What did Trump say to a golfer who was foolish enough to beat him at golf? He said, "It's all right. I've got a supermodel girlfriend and my own Boeing 7. One of his golf courses in Florida has a plaque on the wall saying he was the 1999 championship winner. Why is that a problem?
Well, because he didn't play at that championship. Is this the one where he was playing 87 miles away?
That's because the golf course wasn't open in 1999.
Oh, it wasn't open.
Who's been caught lying this week in a possible attempt to get closer to Trump?
The Attorney General? Is it somebody from this side of the Atlantic?
Give you a hint, it's a Chinese woman.
Oh, yes, the lady that went into that, whatever that resort is called that he owns, she went in there with all sorts of software and tried to log onto the internet or something and steal all sort of sensitive data.
That's correct.
Yeah.
According to the BBC, she told staff she was there to use the swimming pool, but the Secret Service agent called Samuel Ivanovich noticed that she was carrying 4 mobile phones, a laptop, an external hard drive and a thumb drive with a computer virus on it, but no swimsuit. Other than the truth, what else has Trump been struggling to say this week?
Oh, he can't say the word origins.
Let's just have a look.
No collusion, no obstruction. I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation, the beginnings of that investigation. You look at the origin of the investigation.
Comes out as oranges.
Talking about his suntan.
Yes, indeed, yes. And maybe the colour of the suit he'll be wearing in a couple of years' time.
A new book has confirmed that Donald Trump cheats at golf and doesn't like losing. According to the author of the new book about Donald Trump's golfing habits, the president doesn't just cheat, he fudges and foozles and fluffs, and once he's sorted his hair out, he plays golf. Following the completion of the Mueller report, the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov mocked suggestions that Russia had colluded in the US elections. It's hard to find a black cat in a dark room, especially if it's not there. Although, as Donald Trump himself boasted, if anyone in a dark room can grab pussy, it's him. For the final time tonight, let's rejoin Peter Snow and the swingometer of news. Fingers on the buzzers, please.
What a night it's turning out to be, David. We can now look at what's likely to be the final picture.
Is this the salamander that somebody smuggled into England in their luggage?
Exactly. They were found by postal workers in Coventry, hidden in a box of cereal.
That looks like one of the Muppets. That's a brilliant creature.
How do you spot a rare giant salamander?
I don't know. How do you spot a rare giant salamander?
Go on, then.
Well, you check somebody's luggage. They're quite good at sort of merging into their background, so you have to sort of like put them somewhere where it's difficult for them to merge in, like Pizza Hut. So you put them somewhere where they're easily seen.
You want to go like, come here, come here, and then you see if something's there, they'll come out. Whatever it is will come out. If you stand there convincingly, come here.
I saw that scene in The Great Escape.
According to zoological experts,
yes,
you can recognise them because they have crinkly purple tails and slimy smiles.
Oh.
Salamanders have remained largely unchanged for millions of years, a bit like the DUP. What's been creating a lot of noise in Belgium recently?
The sea?
It was competitors in the inaugural European Seagull Screeching Championships.
Oh, wow.
You want to have a look?
Why is there a banana hanging from the ceiling? And is there a competition where seagulls impersonate human beings? I would like a cup of coffee.
This is the unveiling of a giant salamander. The giant salamander is ranked number 2 on the Zoological Society of London's Edge of Existence list, just below the Liberal Democrats. Which means it's time for the odd one out round. Wild orchids at Gatwick, spaghetti bolognese, Lorraine Kelly and Lorraine Kelly.
The two Lorraines, well, there was a court case this week that she won where it was argued that there are two Lorraine Kellys. There is the real Lorraine Kelly, who is Lorraine Kelly walking around as Lorraine Kelly, and then there's the performer.
It was about paying tax.
About paying tax.
It wasn't just a case, it was could she pay less tax because she booked herself in as a persona. I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying I'm a persona. I mean, we all do it. In real life, I'm incredibly nice. Actually, I like kittens. With avocado.
So, the spaghetti bolognese, the Italian city of Bologna, says that spaghetti bolognese is not a real dish because it doesn't emanate from Bologna, it's just a made-up dish. What were the flowers again?
Orchids at Gatwick.
Orchids?
I think they're artificial flowers. So I think they've been put there near Gatwick, near the road there, but they're not real. So one of these things is real and the rest aren't real. So the real one is Lorraine Kelly and all the rest are fake.
Correct.
They're not artificial orchids.
No, what are they?
So your definition of correct needs changing. Quite near.
Go on then.
Would do. I mean, the reason they built the new runway at Heathrow, not Gatwick, well, one of the reasons was there are wild orchids there. If we build the runway, these wild orchids won't be able to grow anymore. And then they sent some experts to go and find the orchids, and they couldn't find them. They didn't appear to exist. So they're mythical orchids. They're not artificial.
What about the spaghetti Bologna?
No, that's all correct, and everything else you've said has been entirely correct. I just didn't like that slight, small error.
A consultant was sent to look for the rare flowers, concluded that if they had existed, then they'd been eaten by rabbits or possibly by 4 cows who had access to the area.
4 cows.
How did they know it was 4 of them?
Who tried not to exist this week in Downing Street?
Everyone?
A journalist from Sky News. Just look at this.
Oh.
We'll have all the latest Brexit reaction and analysis at the start of what could be the toughest week yet.
Good effort. No one would have noticed you. So the answer to the odd one out round is that none of them exists except Lorraine Kelly, who's a real person. Last year, a conservation area containing wild orchids scuppered plans for a second runway at Gatwick. Gatwick now say they can't find the orchids and they doubt they ever existed. Mind you, that's what they said about my suitcase. Gatwick Airport have done all they can to locate the wild orchids. At Christmas, they even had a drone for 2 days. Time for the missing words round.
Oh, I'm good at this.
Which this week features as its guest publication the Luton and District Model Aeronautical Society newsletter. There's some lovely models on page 3. 2 Spitfires and a Hurricane. And we start with Jesus turns up what?
And gives Richard Dawkins a real shock.
Jesus turns up the heating. Jesus turns up in a scone in Stafford.
You got the food wrong.
Got the food wrong. Scones, crisps, sponge cake.
No.
Toast.
No.
Walnut
Toast,
whip.
yeah.
No.
Face like a walnut whip.
No.
No? Oh, no. I won't go through all the food stuffs in the world.
Jesus turns up on a halloumi tortilla wrap. Well, there it is.
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The image of Christ was found on a tortilla bought at a local supermarket, part of Morrison's Meals for the 5,000 range. Next, naked police officer catches sight of what?
Naked police officer catches sight of his wife in bed with 3 policemen, and he goes in and he says, hello, 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 and she says, what's the matter? Aren't you talking to me, then? True story.
Naked police officer catches sight of fugitive in sauna.
Oh.
Classic Swedish police sauna arrest. The suspect was hauled over the coals and beaten with a special branch. Next, what is harder than it looks?
Have I got news for you?
Creme brulee.
Landing your model plane without crashing is harder than it looks.
Yeah.
And finally, what won't appear until after Brexit?
Halley's Comet.
Christ the Almighty.
The Luton and District Aeronautical Show.
Well done. The next edition of the Luton and District Model Aeronautical Society newsletter won't appear until after Brexit. So, the final scores are 6 to Ian and Stacey, 8 to Paul and Henning.
Excellent.
Well done.
Well done.
I'm terribly sorry.
That was me.
And I leave you with the news that at the end of an EU summit in Brussels, Jean-Claude Juncker is presented with his bar tab. And after the government loses another vote, a junior whip subtly points out one of the cabinet ministers who rebelled. And at Buckingham Palace, a photographer captures the moment just before the Queen tries out another new jiu-jitsu throwing technique. And before we go, just to remind you, you can tweet us with your views on Brexit on the usual number. And if you'd like to come along and be part of the audience next week, we're going to be in Limbo. The following week, we'll be in Dante's Third Circle of Hell. Good night.
Good cop, bad cop, but which cop is rotten to the core? ASC12 have The Scent, and the hunt continues here on BBC One this Sunday at 9. Next tonight, would I lie to you? Well, if I was a bent cop, I would, obviously.